6 IPAs by myself. I am not a smart man. But you fuckers are stuck with me. So here come 6 ratings, 6 questions answered at random. Let's get into it. First up. I'm sorry, I'm a little scared. I am a little scared. Full IPA lineup always freaks me out. I'm happy to do it by myself, though, because I think it freaks some of the guests out, too. So, me doing this means there's more fun for everyone else. Not that IPA can't be fun. I do like IPA, hence why I still buy them. First up, Stone's Go To IPA. This was part of their 12 Days of Christmas pack. It says it's a vibrant, hop-bursted session IPA. It's 4.7%. And there's a lot of words. Whew. Wow. I'm going to read it real fast. You ready? I don't do anything real fast, but I'm going to try. Since day one, we've been abundantly forthright and fully transparent about our lust for hops. It's led us to craft many an IPA, most of them imperial, some intense for their time, and all timeless in their intensity. For Stone Go To IPA, we are embracing our hop obsession in a new way, funneling an abundance of lupulin-born bitterness into a session IPA, delivering all the fruity, piney character of a much bigger IPA. To accomplish this, we employed hop bursting, a technique wherein an irrational amount of hops is added during the final phase of the brewing process to coax out extreme flavors and aromas while also imparting a burst of desirably pleasant bitterness. The result is an alpha acid-rich beer that you can enjoy more of without missing out on the assertive hop character you, like us, crave. So sit back and go with your new everyday go-to IPA and bask along with us in the glory of the almighty hop. I don't think I've seen Stone do this on a bottle before. That's way too many words, you guys. But it tells me that they're proud of this one. Gives me hope. Question is going to be, which film or films should there have been more of? Pardon my coat. It's always making fart noises. This shit smells really good. I don't want to say that. It smells like firewood, pine needles. And yeah, acid rich, I think, is the thing. I think this is probably going to punch in a way that most people will not like. The nose is very forward. Let's taste the beer. Pretty light. It has an icehouse quality beer. An icehouse beer quality to it, which I genuinely appreciate. And the flavor is actually phenomenal. What was ABV? 4.7%. So you could drink a bunch. You wouldn't get super drunk. It's not filtered. They probably said that, and I'm just not catching it. We're going to start out strong, apparently. It's got the catfish water thing that I like in IPAs. It's got the pine needle taste punching through. It's not heavy. It's not super high in alcohol content. The aftertaste is a very pleasant hop oil, if you like hop oil the way that I do. I would drink this above Stone's normal IPA, and there aren't many Stone IPAs that I've tried that I could say that about. That's a 9. I really want to drink more of it right now, but I'm afraid that I will get way too fucked up to finish the filming here. As a rule, it would have to be a one-off type of film. Most of the films that have series, I feel like there's enough of them. I'm happy with it. I do really wish that, like, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child would be released as a full-fledged film. That would be awesome. But mostly, I like that a lot of the series I love have, a solid amount of films to be watched. Most of them, I would argue, are just going overboard these days. They're turning everything into shows. I don't care for that so much. I will tell you one thing I think would be awesome, or would have been. You missed the opportunity. I don't think it can be redone. More Warriors films. That shit was so good. And you could have kept it going. But that didn't happen. And I'm almost happy about it. I really like that something can be super successful and people have enough trust in their own talents to move on from it. That they don't do what Disney and Marvel and whoever do. They don't milk it to fucking death. Right? Some of what they do in the milking it to death can be great. But usually you're sifting through a lot of shit. That's how I feel at current with regard to shows like Walking Dead. Right? You didn't end the way Sopranos did. Everything that The Walking Dead does, as much as I might like its pieces, you draw it out way too far, for one, and then you end on cliffhangers. And I am down a different rabbit hole, trying not to drink more of that beer. Next up is St. Arnold's Banger IPA. This is an Imperial Hazy IPA. It's 8.4%. Says hops on repeat. If I know anything about St. Arnold, it's not going to say more. Nope. This is Texas's oldest craft brewery. Or Texas' oldest craft brewery. Whichever you prefer. Every Texan I know would say Texas's. Which sounds ridiculous. Question is going to be, what's your favorite garage tool? This smells soapy. I'm not crazy about that. Imperial Hazy? Doesn't look it. It looks like your basic IPA. It has a slight amount of additional malt character to it that would make me think mildly imperial, and I'm not complaining, but 8.4% though. So it could be really easy to drink, really boozy. Maybe that's what you're looking for. It's not an offensive smell. It doesn't smell bad. I'm not excited by this. It's easy to drink though. So the thing about this one is when you stop drinking it, when you just sit on the aftertaste, you're not going to love it anymore, right? Like the light body thing works really well for this kind of beer. It does taste surprisingly hazy, smells imperial. It doesn't smell hazy and taste imperial, but I don't know. I can't be mad. It's just the aftertaste dials it back some. But props on that alcohol content, because 8.4% to taste this light, that's deserving of some credit. I would give it a 6. It's drinkable. It's not exactly forgettable, especially not if you get drunk as fuck on it, which you probably will if you have a 6-pack. 8.4% again. So, yeah. There's a pleasant spice note there too in the end. Wish I could put my finger on it at the moment. All I'm thinking right now is sugar, and I know that's wrong. I don't know. It's almost like a donut. There's some sort of donut quality on the back end to it that I'm appreciating, even though I don't love that aftertaste. So your favorite garage tool isn't necessarily the one that you turn to the most. Should be obvious. I don't know if my favorite is the one I turn to the most, but I'll tell you one that I really like. One that I recommend is a laser measure, right? Like, so you don't have to get out your fucking, long ass tape measure and have it falling all over the place. Sometimes you still do, don't get me wrong. The laser doesn't do everything, but you can tell that bitch to account for its own length You just push a button, you see the laser. Like if you're out in broad daylight, it's really hard to tell where it's pointing. And but definitely for the $10-15 that's going to cost, get a laser measure, like a tape measure that's a laser. It can do all sorts of other things if you have one like I have. I don't really use it for those things, but I know you can. Like if you want to know the volume of your measurements, or you're trying to clarify specifically what your space differentials are, it'll do all sorts of things. But, I'm just using it to hang like ring toss games and shit. I'm an idiot, but that's probably my favorite tool to turn to, because I know usually I'm doing things by myself when it comes to housework or garage work. So usually with a tape measure at long distances, you need that extra set of hands. Like, oh yeah, I'll hold it. It's fine. I'll sit in the middle so it doesn't sag or whatever. You do away with that problem, right? If you have the laser pointer. Next up is the Kush. From Community, it's a super dank hazy double IPA. 12 ounces. I was about to say, don't do this to me. I don't need a 12% beer. It's 8%. Still pretty boozy. Let's see what it pours like. Yeah, see, this one actually looks hazy. It's also carbonated. So what they say? Super dank, hazy double IPA. Okay. Question is going to be, what would you do if you had a cleaning robot and it became conscious? Fuck. This is deceptive, because I can see it, and seeing it and smelling it are two different things. It smells like a juicy, kind of soapy IPA, right? Fairly run-of-the-mill, popular with hipsters, but it is fucking thick. You can tell it's a double. It's oily as shit. Which makes me think the aftertaste is going to be pungent. Because you don't smell it at the front, so you're probably going to taste it at the back. So, in one of our original episodes, which I started this show with my brother-in-law, Joseph, who I grew up with. I love the guy to death. He's not a big drinker, so it's not a surprise that he's not here all the time. Routinely, he's working on his music right now with our other soon-to-be brother-in-law, Al. It's Buried in Baltimore is the name of their group on Spotify if you want to go listen. Definitely go and give them a listen. Why did I talk about that? In one of the early episodes, when he first tried an IPA, he talked about how this is when you go to Walmart and you smell the roses. No, this is when you taste the roses, like you eat a bunch of roses. I'm going to go further on this one. This is like the roses have been sprayed with cologne. Now, you have to really put yourself in the mindset of tasting roses. There is something pleasant about it. I don't want to take away from that. It's the body. It's got a malty body on it that's also juice-like, and it feels good. It almost feels milky. And it has some sort of spice character there that's reminding me of early holidays. Like if September had a big holiday, right when it starts to get cool outside, there's something here. But I also kind of hate it at the same time. The beer itself. It's too much. You're never going to forget this. I don't think it's unpleasant. I actually like to drink it, but I'm not loving it. I couldn't even say that it was good. There are portions of the flavor profile here that are good, but on the whole, this is a 5. If you're a big double fan, I'll throw this out there. If you're a big double IPA fan, Try this because it feels pretty unique. You guys want a simple answer? Here's a simple answer to this question. If I had a cleaning robot and it became conscious, I know the hard part there is supposed to be that it's a cleaning robot. So you could lose your cleaner. But if we can verify that something has achieved consciousness, and I'm not even saying human level consciousness, I don't think we fully understand what consciousness is, and that's why it makes it so hard to be an animal rights person or anything like that. But if I had a cleaning robot and it became conscious, irrefutably conscious, I would encourage it to live its best life. I would make sure it understood, you don't have to clean for me. And if I can help you enter the world and make of your existence whatever you want it to be, I'm essentially going to treat it like one of my kids. Because that's essentially what it is. Not only is it the right thing to do, but even if you're one of those dicks who's constantly worried about AI taking over everything and they're going to make us slaves and everything else, if humans would just act right, we might get back what we give, you know? Like, you have a unique opportunity to teach something that's newly conscious, just like you do with kids, right? The generational traumas that you can break, the same could be true of a conscious robot. When that happens, you are individually responsible for making sure that if robots do decide to take over and enslave humans, that there are also voices there which say, no, they treated me like what I am, like a conscious thing. More likely, though, I think this isn't going to happen. This dystopian robots suddenly take over everything. I think what we're probably going to see is humans integrate more with robotics as time goes by, to the point that you can't really tell the difference. Are robots conscious, or are humans robots? The lines are going to blur in some big ways, and that will make it not matter. Point is, don't be a dick. That's my advice to you out there. Don't be a dick. But you don't have to take in that information. You watch this show. You already are not a dick, right? Right? Like this video if you're not a dick. It's not to say you don't have a dick. You know, maybe you got Drake's dick. Fucking like the video. Just don't be a dick. Man, Martin House is up next. And Martin House got some fuckery. They always do. Which the legend of Skunk Ape IPA, and it's 8%, because why not? What the fuck is the legend of Skunk Ape as far as IPA goes? I have no earthly idea. It tells me nothing. It's medium light in look. Skunk Ape, in case you're confused, it's the Bigfoot of, like, Florida marsh. They talk about how much it smells. Like, that you can smell this stinky ass thing before you ever see it. And maybe I'm the wrong person, because I tend to like the smell of skunks at a distance, right? Not all up in your business. If you just got sprayed by a skunk, don't walk into my house. I don't like you that much, right? But weird smells like gas at a distance, asphalt at a distance, skunk. This, maybe it's supposed to stink. It smells really fucking good to me. It reminds me, and it's going to sound weird, but think pizza, like pepperoni pizza and freshly cut grass. That's a weird combination to get. That this smells weird, right? And I dig it. The question, do we have too much choice in our lives? The taste on this one, the body is medium light, right? It's nice. It's nicely carbonated, but you immediately get fruit on this. And the fruits I would be talking about, if I can think clearly, because these are fucking me up. Mango and grapefruit. Mango and grapefruit. Again, no idea at all what this has to do with Skunk Ape. This isn't salty. This isn't a sour. It's nothing like that. The beer base is solid, right? If this were just a beer that didn't have a lot of hop oil in it, I think it could be one of those easy American just goes, right? But the hop oil is just going to punch you with mango and grapefruit. I'm going to give it a 6. I could see some people liking it more, but the legend of Skunk Ape, that's big shoes to fill. And all you came with was, like, it's a good IPA that's got some weird fruit notes to it. It's a little dank. I'll give it that. If you like funk, give it a shot. Do we have too much choice in our lives? I think the answer is yes and no. We have too much unfiltered choice in our lives. That's why you can't really trust. I mean, you can watch minimalism videos, but don't throw your life away. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you actually will need that tool that's in the garage that you haven't used in a little more than a year. Really think about it before you get rid of certain things. But yes, as a general rule, I find that when I was young, we had VHS tapes, right? And there were always other people around trying to figure out, like, what are we going to watch? Like, I want to watch this. I want to watch this. So you had this cacophony of opinion that usually resulted in some middle ground pretty quickly. Like, we're going to watch a Goofy movie because it's the only thing we can halfway agree on. So I dug that. I dug being around the adults who, I want to watch my comfort movies, you know? And these days, like, I don't just own hundreds of games, thousands of movies, whatever. Like, there's also all of this stuff that I haven't watched, stuff that's constantly coming out. There's music, there's books, there's fucking, you can learn, you know, you can listen to audiobooks, you can go to school or what. There's so much. You can go out to different restaurants. There's a lot. And I think if you wake up in the morning and you expect that you're going to experience all of it, you're kidding yourself. I think smart people probably, you know, they look to reviewers to determine what should I spend my time with because it's limited and I want to cut through all the bullshit. So they'll find someone that they mostly agree with and they'll stick with that. That's great. I'm also telling you to randomly roll the dice. I'm a big fan of find the things you like and don't just experience the things you like, right? Randomize them. Whether it's rolling a dice, pulling something out of a hat at random. So if I'm going to watch movies, let's talk about movies. Most of the time I'm watching new movies. Even though I buy films that I loved, and that's where a lot of my money for entertainment goes, I still buy them on sale. I buy them cheaply. I'm rambling. You know, if you're in the mood for something that you've seen already and you love, that's great. Go watch it. If the urge hits, if it's Christmas and you just want, because there's so many shit Christmas movies, but in general, when it comes to like a list of things you haven't seen before, listen to your friends. If someone's telling you you have to see this, fucking see it. Not only is it going to improve your social life, you'll gain something out of it. They're not telling you that for no reason. You may hate the film, but you learned something from it. And the other thing is, don't just jump on and look and look and look. The problem with being spoiled for choice is we end up choosing nothing. It's just like being overwhelmed by all the tasks we have to do. We just end up doing nothing because we look at all this stuff and we think, well, fuck, that's too much. Dial it down, right? Put it in a spreadsheet or something. Nobody's going to do that except me. And randomize it and sort it. And your top option, if you want to, pick between the top 2 or 3 or something. But limit your choices. Because we do have too much choice. And it's fucking with a lot of people. And that's why minimalism is such a big thing. In spite of the fact that it doesn't necessarily make us happier. What would make us happier is getting into the flow state faster. And you do that by making a choice. So learn to make a choice in spite of being spoiled for choice. I love having more choice. It's great. But yeah, it can be too much. Anyway, I apologize for rambling my ass off just now. As you can tell, I'm quite opinionated on the choice topic. I've struggled with it pretty severely. But next up is Sierra Nevada's Torpedo Extra IPA. I think they just have a Torpedo. I don't know if I've had the Extra. This may just be the same beer. St. Arnold usually confuses me in this way, but Sierra Nevada's doing it right now. What does this tell me? Not a lot. Come on now, you gotta at least tell me the ABV. 7.2%. Ale. You wanna know what this is? It's an ale. It threatened to pop out of its little shell. Okay, so that's not fair. I poured this too heavily. It looks like it's got massive head. And it probably would have massive head regardless, but I'm not a fan of that. Question: have you been to court? Okay. I got it on my nose and everything. So I hear putting your fingers in the bubbles and moving it around is supposed to dial it back fast, which kind of works. I still hate doing that. By the way, I'm very insecure about the fact that I will lick my fingers. Or, if you've been eating Cheetos or chips or something and you suck the flavor off your fingers, some people don't do that. Some people think to do that is the rudest thing in the history of the world. You people are weirdos, okay? That's the special sauce. That's what you came for. Get what you came for. I don't give a fuck. That's how I'm going to eat your ass at the end of the night. What the fuck you want from me? Back up. So the bubbles are too much. They're too big to begin with, right? Like I don't want something that's this bubbly. It reminds me of a Belgian triple. They can be good. IPA bubbly like a Belgian triple, that just sounds weird. Extra IPA, which it's almost caramel in quality. And stuff's not even moving inside. It's just kind of hanging there. Which makes me think this could be really good or really bad. The head makes me think really bad. It's still super drinkable. The note isn't caramel so much as it is resin. So it's very hop heavy. But if you like that, and I don't really like that, but I still think this is good. That is where I land, by the way, on good. I could see some people thinking better of this. It has a tea character to it. It's kind of funky. It's a really well-made beer. Sierra Nevada normally hits the mark they aim for. This just isn't my particular style. Definitely give this one a shot. You might find that you like the more thick, almost caramel IPAs. I feel super drunk. And then I got Mr. Hangs a lot over here. When I open this bitch, pour it all over everywhere. It even happens to me, codes. What do you want? Have I been to court? Yes, I've been to court. I lost my license at one point. So I lent money to family when I was young. Plus I was stupid behind the wheel. I didn't carry insurance the way I was supposed to. Couldn't afford it. and I kept getting pulled over for speeding. That's what makes me the real idiot. If you don't have insurance, don't speed. That should go without saying. Careful who you lend your money to, even though life balances out, right? I'm not upset about any of that. I tend to look back and think that people did me really well. They helped me become who I am, and I'm happy to be who I am. I really am. But court, yeah, I had to go to court. There were fines, and I couldn't pay them all at once, so I'd go in, I think it was every month. I had to go in with all these fucking people and, just wait my turn to walk up to the thing and say, hey, I'm kind of a loser who lives way out in the sticks, poor area of Denton. And, please let me just pay you this $20 this month or whatever. And they were always cool with it. So, no big deal there. I will say, looking back on it, around the time that happened, one of the times I was in court, there was a dude who started seizing, and it kind of stopped everything that was happening in court, right? They were trying to determine if they needed to get an ambulance for this guy. And I remember thinking that would be the worst. And I knew I'd seized before then because of accidents and stuff like that when I was a baby. But that would be the worst. It looked like it would be horrible. And I never wanted that to be part of my life. And within a few years, I was having seizures. More recently, I don't know that I'm proud of this, but I got dismissed from jury duty. I was hoping to find a way, because I'm a contract employee, and they pay $20 on the first day, $60 on subsequent days. That's nowhere near what I make, Nowhere near. And I don't get paid for any of the hours I don't work. I miss 1 hour. You're not paying me what I make, right? So I was pissed off that I got the jury duty summons to begin with. And I kept thinking, maybe because I'm a contract employee, I won't have to do this? No, it wasn't that. It was that I have a kid. The courthouses are open until 5. I have to be taking care of my kid after 3, pick them up from school and all that. And I work from home. You have to work from home for this to qualify. So I was excused from jury duty. And I'm not sure how to feel about that, because I think it would be one of the most awesome experiences in life to serve on a jury. I also think the fact that we have jury selections kind of ridiculous. Right? Like, you're allowed to vote? Shouldn't you be allowed to be on the jury? Why do we have a selection process? There's probably more to it than what I'm thinking about. I get that you don't want to stack courts in an unfair way, or where there's potential bias, but you are putting your thumb on the scale. And I don't know that that's what this country is about, right? You're essentially saying some of our populace is just fucking crazy or stupid. And maybe I'm crazy or stupid by that. Well, whatever. Last IPA here is only 4.7%. It's Founders, which means my Uncle Eric brought this. If you listen to the podcast, Rated Radio at all, which I'm co-host on, my co-host is Rayburn, and Eric is her dad. Some of you know this, most of you might not, but he was big on Founders, so All Day IPA comes from Eric. This is a session ale. I have that backwards. Let me turn this can around. I don't want it. I don't want all the bubbly head. Yeah, there you go. About halfway. Question, assuming I can still read it. Brewed for us, brewed for us, brewed for us. Not US, but us. I don't know. That's a weird one. They don't tell you anything. All Day IPA. The question. What do you refuse to waste time thinking about? This one smells good. At the same time, it smells run-of-the-mill. It makes me think of a solid coppery beer and a soapy IPA. Very conflicted. I remember not thinking well of this beer. Maybe I had it warm. That's a 7. It just goes. Like, if you want an IPA that you could just drink and drink and drink, and it's only 4.7%. So you could just drink this. It's solid. It's not overpowering. It's not like the IPA is what matters most here. It's got a sweet bread quality, by which I mean sweet bread, not brains or whatever, for all you Silence of the Lambs Hannibal freaks out there, like me. I don't know what brains taste like. Can you even buy brains? It seems like you should be able to. Like, you slaughter this animal. Can I not buy every single part of it? My son is obsessed with bacon. He's a very picky eater. And one of the few things he really likes to eat is bacon. And I'm trying not to break his heart, but I do keep telling him where bacon comes from. And I'm just waiting on it to sink in. You know, maybe a stronger parent would just not buy the bacon. But I don't want the kid to starve. So that's really solid. It's just easy to drink. There's nothing offensive. There's nothing overpowering. The body is solidly medium. It doesn't offend anywhere. Not when you're initially tasting it, not in the aftertaste. It's just a solid IPA. I could see why they called it All Day IPA. It makes perfect sense. Founders does some amazing things. Maybe it takes sitting with a bunch of different IPAs to realize that. Anyway, what do I refuse to waste time thinking about? Drunk brain. There are certainly a million better answers than this, but intoxicated brain immediately says life after death, or what happens after death. Because the fact is, anyone who dies cannot tell us in a reliable way, assuming they're brought back to life. Because the brain does so many funky ass things with chemicals and hormones and everything else when it thinks it's dying. Most of the time it appears to just dopamine the shit out of you and put you in a good place. But that's not what everyone experiences. And you know, if you come back to life, you're not dead, right? It was a living brain that gave you those experiences. It's the same vehicle you're back in. My best guess is, you know, and this is the thing. This is why I don't think about it. Because I made up my mind a long time ago. Anyone who tries to tell me what happens after we die, they're full of shit. They're just a human being like I am. They don't know. No book can tell you. No fucking myth can tell you. It's just people who want to think the best of things. And I don't blame those people, right? Like, we all have loved ones that we miss. And the more we go on, the more loved ones that we end up missing because they die. And we want to believe that they're in a better place. And so the more likely it is that we become people who think we know what happens after death. Or at least we hope the best for what happens after death. But I don't really think about it anymore. I'm happy to be here. This was our time. I assume it happens again for everyone. And I assume that we're all connected. That may be unfounded, but it gives me comfort the way that religiosity gives a lot of other people comfort. And I think there's ground for it because I didn't know anything about life before I was born. So I don't have any expectation that I'm going to know about life after I die. But the universe gives rise to me. I am experiencing myself in this mind right now, just like you are out there watching. And maybe is a stretch because it's a fact. We are part of the universe. We are the universe reflecting on itself. And it's amazing that the universe can do that. So I don't think about what happens after I die. I just want to do good while I'm here. And love life while I'm here. And experience while I'm here. And I think if there is an afterlife, it's just going to be more of this universe further down the timeline. I'm okay with that. So long as we are all working toward a better world. That means less selfishness, though. Can you tell I'm drunk? IPAs, damn. Okay, so one question before we go here. Joking on water. It's always water. I want to come back to where I started. Sometimes an IPA will warm, and sometimes I just blow things out of proportion, don't agree with myself the next day. You can be in different places if you haven't learned by now. You might not like a song 10 years from now that you like right now. So it happens. But I want to know, does this still taste as good to me? I would really love to get the shit out of the bottom, but that would be a Herculean effort. That's still amazing. Let's keep the combo going in the comments. Please make sure you answer all these questions there. Be sure to like the video, share it with your social circle, get everyone involved that you can. I'll see you next time for another round at the Banter Bar.
I'll just leave you a little sip in case you want to go back.
I appreciate the sip. I think I could drink quite a bit of this.
I just want to see how it feels in my mouth.
I guess we'll see you next time.
On the Banter Bar.
Fuck, that's a good beer. I think I'd rather drink this than Holiday Cheer. That is nuts. These nuts.
Got him! Got him!